Hello, it's time for Lunch for the Soul. I'm Melissa Wilson with Fox 26 Houston, and I have the most unique guest experience for you today. And I am going to guess that you haven't talked to many people in your lifetime who has done what she has done. Selflessly, that's hard to say, selflessly, like, I mean, total love in her heart, gave her body, mind, and soul to help other moms and other dads be a mom and dad. So without further ado, let's bring in Ashley Mareko. Hello there. How are you? I had to make sure I didn't say selfish. I mean, you're as selfless as it gets. Welcome. I'm so happy you're here.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be able to share with people about, what we do here with surrogacy.
Yes. Okay. So, what we're talking about is being a surrogate mom, being the incubator, so to speak, and sharing your body so that somebody else can be a mom. Let's first of all start with your journey. You have your own children?
I do, yeah. So I have my bonus daughter and my two biological children that I gave birth to. We call them keepers. So I have three
Uh-huh.
keepers, yeah. And then I had babies for everybody else.
Yes, I love that you're able to do that. Let's talk about that journey and what that looks like. So, not once or twice, but four times you have carried babies to term and delivered for somebody else?
Yeah, when I started this, it was really important for me. I definitely value life. And so when I met my first family, I said I would carry all of their embryos. We didn't want to leave any babies frozen, but they kept sticking. So we've done three. They still have one embryo left. And I said, if you ever want me to, I will carry your last baby. We don't want to keep them on
Mhm.
ice. And then the other family I helped only had one embryo. So that was an easy one. We just carried one baby for them.
And I got to ask you, as a mom, what this is like. So right now, we see you with one of the babies that you carried all that time, 9 months. You carry this baby; it becomes part of your body.
Yes.
What is it like to, I mean, basically just say, "Here you go," and that's kind of be emotionally difficult, I would think, right? I mean, I'm sure you get a little bit attached.
Yeah, I do. So in my teenage years, I spent some time in foster care. So I promise the story will bring it back around.
Uh,
And so it's always been in my heart that I eventually want to have like a group home or I want to foster children, especially the teenagers. And, when me and my husband were looking at foster care, we were like, how would we be able to survive if these kids come into your home, you love them, and then the whole thing of foster care is to reunite them with their families if they can safely go. And so I think of surrogacy the same way. Like, God is putting these babies in my life. I'm to love them as much as I can, keep them safe, and get them back to their parents. And know that that was my job. My job was just to love them, grow them, and return them back to
mhm.
their parents. And if that's truly what we're supposed to be doing, then I have to let go of the baby side. It also helps because as a surrogate, you are required to be done with your family. And so it's not that I wanted any more children in my family. So to me, they're more like nieces and nephews, right? Like, I love them, I care for them, but
Mhm.
y'all can go home because like Auntie Ashley is gonna go and rest now. Like,
Oh, that's so true. That is a really good way to look at it. Okay, so do you mind? I know it's a personal topic, but do you mind walking us through and helping us understand how this works? So basically, these families are just literally borrowing your body. It has nothing at all to do with your DNA. Walk us through how that happens.
yeah, so simplest terms, I am an oven and that is their bun, right? Like, my intended mother's, her oven didn't work. And so she asked me to bake her, but her cake for her. Like,
Mhm.
that's it. But so scientifically, what's amazing about it is that they will fertilize the egg with, dad's sperm or a donor sperm or a donor egg, depending on what the family, looks like.
Mhm.
And then they will grow safely that baby to ideally like 5 days. They will freeze that embryo. And then when it's time for me, I will be given medications. So I will be given one type of medication to stop me from ovulating. And then right before the transfer, I will be given another medication to trick my body into thinking I ovulated so that when they place that embryo into my uterus, my body accepts that foreign object and then I'm able to grow that baby. I'll stay on medications for several weeks after the transfer, and then when my body starts making estrogen and progesterone and the pregnancy hormones, then we will wean my body off the medications, and then I'll continue the pregnancy.
I just can't fathom being able to produce a beautiful baby and then give that as a gift. So
Yeah.
you actually stay in touch with the families?
So it's really up to the surrogate and the intended parents, and you really work hard to match parents and surrogates like with each other, and they're like-minded. Some parents and surrogates are like, hey, we would love to be friendly and cordial during this process, but we would say goodbyes, after delivery. Some parents are like, we would love to have you as a family friend, if it grows naturally. And so for me, it was very important. I'm a very nosy person. And so I wanted to match with families that would still allow me to like get updates, and not because it's my baby, but just to watch the blessing and see, how this works. Like for me, these families, like my intended mom went through 5 years of failed IVF and multiple miscarriages. And so watching someone who has struggled so hard and worked so hard to get to the point of motherhood, and then to watch how amazing of a mom she is, like it was just fun to be on the sideline and get to watch her be a mom, get to watch her fulfill her dreams. Like I know you were asking like, how hard is it to give the child, back to their parents? But honestly, when I gave birth, mom goes directly skin to skin with baby. And I remember my intended mom meeting the first baby we had together and her saying like, I've waited so long for you and I will love you forever. And I think about all these families that you may not have like a healthy family, and you may not have like the love and support of your parents, but like to know that these children are coming in and they've so wanted, and they're so loved, and they're given so much like just opportunity to succeed in life. Like it's just been really amazing to see these little humans and watch them grow and watch how amazing their families are.
Oh, I bet. And then at SurrogateFirst now, so you continue to use your faith through this. I want to talk more about what you were doing during that time, because I understand you even had to get approval from a board for what you were doing, and through your faith-based studies. What was that about, and what did that look like for you?
So when I first started, I was working in ministry, and so we sign like a declaration of how you're going to live, right? So no alcohol and tobacco, like you're working in a school system. And so you need to make sure that you are living virtuous so that you can do this. And so this was something that we weren't sure if, like biblically, I felt that God had led me to it. And I felt like the scripture didn't, contradict what I was wanting to do. But we did. We had to go to the board of the school and to my pastors, because I also went to that church. And so we talked with them about what we were going to do. I told them I wanted to help, mom and dad. I wanted to get, to help them through this process. And obviously we talked about termination. I am a pro-life surrogate, which means that I will not terminate unless my life is in danger. And even at that point, if there's any way to keep that baby growing as long as possible, me and my husband had discussed that we would put that first, right? And so if I had to go on life support, we were going to get that little baby to their parents as healthy as possible. And so I shared that with my pastors. I shared that with the board. They went back and they, really studied the word, and they prayed on it, and they came back and they said like, hey, we don't see anything contradicting this, so we would love to support you on this. They did, once we started going through the process and my husband started, explaining what I was doing, they did ask my husband to stop telling like the church members that it's not his, really explain ahead of time that it's a surrogacy. Like, congratulations, you have a baby. And he'd be like, oh, it's not mine.
Yeah, so no joking around about it for people to, out of context, they don't get it.
They're like, oh, that teacher's stepping out on her marriage. Like, no, my husband's just ridiculous.
Yeah, he's just joking around. It's just, I can see where that could be a problem.
But yeah, so we got approval and we went through the process. And so, that first surrogacy, I was working in ministry the entire time. When I originally wanted to match with a family, I was looking for a Christian family, but as I was going through this process, I kind of just thought, well, what if God could use me to bring Christ to a family? And so I ended up working with a family that was Buddhist. But in the end, like they send me pictures of the kids go to a Christian priest. They went to Christian preschools. They think it's amazing. They love sending me them like praying and singing Sunday school songs. And so like, to me, here are these 3 little children who knows who they're going to be able to touch and bring God to them. And the parents allow me to talk about God to the kids, and they know that, Auntie Ashley loves Jesus. And so it's really been a cool experience to be able to share that and watch that kind of trickle and like weave into their lives that they have now.
Well, I think it sounds like your background really played a large role in how comfortable you are with all of this. It's almost something like we see in other countries. I picture where they talk about the blue zones, where people live to be 110, and that's because they have the support of the family. You never get kicked out of the house, right? Grandma, granddad, great grandma, great granddad all have such an integral part of the life. There in Hawaii, where you grew up, it's like everyone sort of raises each other's kids and helps out, right? Did that help, do you think, open your mind to doing something like this?
Oh, 100%. I think in Hawaii, we have the aloha spirit, right? So like truly where I grew up, everyone loved each other. Like you helped raise each other's children. Like I remember just roaming neighborhoods, like as a kid, or like going to the park, and like it's this love. There is a word called hanai, which means like to adopt. And a lot of times it's unofficial, it's not legal. But if you have a friend or family member that's struggling, you would take their kids in, you would take the family and you would feed them, you would love them. Like, so yeah, I think Hawaii is probably one of the best. They definitely have the gift of like bringing people in and loving people and really treating them like with love.
I want to ask you a question. We're going to get real here for a minute as moms, okay? So, it's sort of the joke that I think girlfriends probably have with each other more than with anybody else, even maybe with their spouse. But it's the old saying of, well, my body will never be the same after having those babies, but oh my goodness, they're so worth it. So, and I just think about, we stretch our bodies out month after month and we have these babies, and then, but a lot of the times you have that baby in the house and you're like, oh, you were worth my saggy body, but you've given that precious package of joy to somebody else. Do you just conjure up those thoughts of happiness if you ever get frustrated about that, or does that not even bother you? You look amazing, by the way. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, as a mom who's had babies, I know things change.
Yeah, no, I'll be honest. Like that's what I explain to people is that postpartum time is tough. Like our bodies are created with those hormones to connect, right? So we don't throw our children out into the wild. And you're left with the flubbiness and all of that. And so that is something that like I do have to process. And so like, that's something that's different and unique with like my agency that I'm with, SurrogateFirst, is like what we did is, because I had went through that, because I understood it, we created like a 4th trimester support group. So we have mental health professionals, and we meet and we talk. We have a health and wellness program for like diet and nutrition to reach our goals. We have the support of what we call surro sisters. So in surrogacy, if you're another surrogate, we automatically are surrogate sisters. We're surro sisters. We understand this. And so that's definitely something. But I think at my age, because now I'm 40, right? And so I look at my body and I think I've had 6 children. And while I don't like stretch marks and the flub and the mom pouch, I just admire how amazing this body is, right? That has carried these children safely to their families, and my own children, with my babies, they're adults now. My youngest is 19. And so like this body that God gave me is just so amazing. And that's the other side. A lot of families will look at it and say, this is unnatural, right? If God wanted you to have children, you would have them. And I was very closed-minded, and that's how I felt before I realized, family members having hysterectomies or friends going through chemo and needing someone to carry their child. And so, that's definitely how I thought. And then I went through it. And the truth is, it's not 100%. Surrogacy does not have 100% success rate. There's still a God factor. If this embryo sticks, if this baby grows. And so to me, more than like what I'm left with is the fact that like God trusted me enough to allow me to carry his blessing. Right. And so, do I love the flub? No, I'd love to get a mommy makeover. But it's just so amazing how God created us as women.
Oh, it is. And it's worth, I say every day, it is so worth it. I would have it no other way. So it's all good, right? I mean, it's absolutely so
But
good.
if I could be skinny, yes, I would totally do it.
You're perfect. Let's talk a little bit more about how somebody can get help because we know that it can be the toughest thing that a family can go through. And maybe they don't even realize that this is an option. How do they begin that process? Who would even really seriously want to look into something like this?
Yeah, definitely. So for the first part, 1 out of 6 people in the world deal with infertility.
Mm.
1 out of 8 people in the U.S. So it's a very untalked about, um, you know, issue that people are going through. They're struggling with their fertility, and so as parents, definitely reaching out to like IVF clinics and to surrogacy agencies. You can ask, like, if you already know and you have your embryos and you know that you're not going to be able to safely carry your babies, then yeah, meeting with a surrogacy agency. So for me personally, I work with my agency, but I also moonlight as a surrogacy coach. And so if someone has questions, they can always reach out on my email, which is ashley@surrogatefirst.com. And I will do my best to point them in the right direction, get them the resources. There are grants, there are scholarships. A lot of employers are now offering fertility benefits to help families to grow. On the surrogacy side, it's really important to do your research, understand what the requirements are, how long the process is going to take, and then meet with someone like myself who can talk you through it about the ups, the downs, the positives, the negatives, the commitment, because it is a commitment. When you're a surrogate, you commit for about 1.5 to 2 years as you go through screening, and then you're meeting the families that you decide to carry for, and then you're going through medical and legal processes, and then medications to get pregnant, and then the pregnancy itself, plus the postpartum. And so you want to really pray on that. You want to talk with your spouse. Your spouse has to be very supportive of it. You have to understand that commitment and then go into it together. So yeah, I would say those are the first steps for it. A lot of stuff on YouTube. There's a lot of videos. We have, like, I do webinars every 2 weeks about the process and building relationships, picking your families, looking at the compensation aspect, and how is that going to protect you and your family when you go through this? Because here in the US, we are one of the only countries where you can be legally compensated with, going through this process, the pain and suffering of it.
Oh, that is good to know. And then, is it affordable for families, do you feel like, of all the choices? Because we know that a lot of it, IVF can devastate people's bank accounts, right? I mean, it all adds up.
Surrogacy is a last resort. Many of our families have went through every option they could possibly have before coming to surrogacy, because it can cost, $130,000 to $160,000 when you're going through like a surrogacy with an agency and a surrogate who is, the normal compensation. There's legal fees, there's health insurance, traveling expenses. You definitely want to be protected on that. I know that for our families at SurrogateFirst, it's like we're looking at the financial side of it. Like, do we have any financial protections? Is there employee? We're looking at retirements, 401ks. Like, a lot of these families, this is not movie stars that are always doing this. This is normal families that are taking a second job and things like that to go through this process.
Yeah. And then we take a look, though, at the end product, and you just see why people will do anything to get their lifelong dream. I mean, it's just got to feel incredible. What was this like to be able to see these babies for the very first time and know what that meant for those families?
I mean, honestly, it's probably pretty close to my own children. Like, me and my husband personally had dealt with like secondary infertility after we had our few children, and we just didn't have like the financial need to, like, we were like, okay, we have our children, we're not going to go through IVF. And so I felt for a short time, that 6 months to a year where we were trying, and that bitterness of wanting a child and feeling like our family wasn't complete. And so I think it was definitely healing for me to watch another mother heal in that moment of just holding her child and being kind of a fly on the wall. I mean, exhausted fly after labor, but just getting to see that, like, I got to be part of helping bring a child in. I love my children so much. They're my joy. I couldn't imagine my life without them. And there are moms out there that are struggling, that deserve to have they would be amazing moms.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, there's, for every one qualified surrogate, there's 10 families looking. And so,
Mm.
like, we definitely need people that are safe to carry, that are, loving and would be willing to help a family, because like, I got to help 2 families, but there are so many out there that are just amazing that we just need you. Like, come call me,
Yeah.
whatever you
Talk
need.
about that. So I know that right now that's what you do is you really try to find these meaningful connections and
Yeah.
try to help pair these families together. Who is the ideal mom? I'm picturing 20 to 40, perhaps. The age is really important.
21 to 45. We work with 21 to 40. You're looking for someone who's already had a baby safely. We want to know that it's safe for you to be pregnant. Sometimes there's the most amazing women, and unfortunately, it wouldn't be safe for them to carry again, right? Like, and so we're looking for people who had easy, like, uncomplicated pregnancies, that have a stable living environment, that have a big family support. That's really it. Like, it's honestly, there's age, there's a BMI limit. So a healthy BMI. And I think, like, no felony convictions. You want to be safe, right? Like, what I tell surrogates is, if you would trust yourself to carry your most precious gift, then look into it. If you're like, ooh, I don't know if I would trust myself, then maybe not the right time to be a surrogate.
Yeah. Yeah. And then you just think about this, putting this beautiful baby into somebody else's life and how it's going to change forever. And then this is one of the moms who you've gotten really close with.
Yeah, I love her. I mean, we spent 25 days in China with them. I'm going to be going out this summer to Singapore and spending time with the 3 babies I had with her and her husband, and just getting to love on them. They know me as Auntie Ashley. And so it's just really cool to see these guys. And even the kids are thankful. Like, they're very thankful, like, that I was willing to bring them here. Like, they're like, thank you for carrying us and growing us, like,
I love that.
It's amazing. It is. And it's kind of great because, like, with your own kids, you worry about how are they going to turn out, and you have to parent them, and you're financially responsible from, like, I think it's kind of like grandparents. Like, I get to love them, send them toys. They love me, think I'm awesome. And I have no responsibility to their raising them or anything.
You're out. You just get to enjoy all the good side of it. It's just like a grandparent. That's perfect.
Yeah.
Well, I'm so happy to connect with you and to see what you've been able to do, how you've been able to help others, and to just make sure that people know that this opportunity is very much alive and out there for anybody who's just feeling desperate and need that little push that maybe this information will help them. Thank you for that. I'm so happy to get to meet you and enjoy your trip. It sounds very exciting.
Go Navy. No.
Oh, that's right. All right.
Yeah.
Take care.
Well, it's amazing. And if there is anyone out there, that's a Christian woman, 80% of our surrogates are evangelical Christians. Like, if you have questions about faith, if you have questions about scripture, and if this is something that, you would love to do, but you're not sure, like, definitely reach out. We have resources, going to your pastors, and we can help to explain it a little bit more, because a lot of people don't understand that, like, it's not our DNA. And, these babies have amazing homes and amazing families that they will be just taken care of.
And one last time, how we can reach you.
Yeah. So you can reach me on any of my social medias. I'm Ashley, SurrogateFirst Mareko. My email is Ashley, ASHLEY @surrogatefirst.com. And I really am here to answer your questions. I can point you in the right direction of different providers and different, information that you can get. But yeah, whatever you need, I'm here. Whether you're an intended parent or a surrogate, I'd love to be able to answer your questions and just to support you along this journey. We're starting a surrogate Bible study. So if you're a surrogate already with another agency or independent, and you want to, get together with other Christian surrogates, like, we're around. I'll figure out a way to get you a community and friends.
Awesome. Oh, Ashley, you're such a delight. I can just tell that people love meeting your beautiful soul. Thank you again for joining us here on Lunch for the Soul.
Thank you so much. It was such an honor. I really appreciate it.
Keep up the good work. It's remarkable.
Thank you. You have a blessed day.
Oh, you do the same. And thank you all for being here on Lunch for the Soul. I love having you here. I hope to see you back here, same time, same place next week. Have a beautiful day.